Are the Eagles actually a Super Bowl contender? Joel Embiid expected to return to the lineup when the Sixers get home next week. How can they bounce back from this brutal road trip? And the Flyers, they're holding on. The Philadelphia Union, impressive win. We have a lot to break down in Philadelphia sports. More than Philly in the house. Let's do it.
We are now offering a new product.
It's not Monday, but for us, it's our first day of the week on the show. It feels like it. How is it going, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network. We are thrilled to be here with all of you today. It is the 23rd of November. We are edging very close to Thanksgiving. It is 5:32 p.m. here on the East Coast. And as always, joined alongside my co-host, Gavin Tony. Gavin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Zach. Listen, I had a great weekend. I was at the link. I know we're going to get in in just a minute, but Zach, today's day was actually pretty interesting. I got to help out Jake today. We did a lot of fun things. Hopefully, it all comes well to great and helps him out in the long run. But Zach, today was good. Where were you at? I was actually at the Zach Star household, and there was no Zach to be found.
Yeah, I know. I was out suit shopping today. I promise it'll pay off. We're overdue to have a nice fancy day on the show where we dress up. Maybe that's a good reason for you to dress up in a suit. Maybe this week. Since you're getting your haircut tomorrow, get a fresh fade or something. We'll figure it out. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, look.
You want to see this again? Is that what they want to see?
I'm all for it. Let's do it. One day we're sitting here. We're doing a 2-hour show. We'll do it in person. We'll get some guests on. We'll dress up. It'll be a good time. So stay tuned for that on tap. Maybe a New Year's version. We have tons of ideas that are continuing to flow through. Nonetheless, we got a lot to break down today. Very exciting show. Very exciting developments going on in Philadelphia. Gavin, the colors on the backdrop, they are green today. Hence, the Philadelphia Eagles. They are not a team that we are hard to watch. Time will tell has been my scripture the entire offseason and early in the year. Gavin, we're starting to see a turning point. We're starting to see the roses that have been fertilized, the flowers that have been fertilized, start to peek their head. It might not be this year that they're fully grown, but they're certainly a lot better than just being sitting in the soil and figuring out, are they going to germinate or not. The defense concerns will continue. I apologize for the heavy flower references. Not to Nick Sirianni for that.
You're not a gardener. Sorry. Actually, no, you are actually. My bad. You are.
Not to the extent of my analogies, but nonetheless, we'll break it all down today. Philadelphia Eagles. This was an easy win. Some scariness in the fourth quarter. But, Gavin, this was an easy win. From end to end, they looked like the better team. This is the third week in the last 4 that they just look like the blatant better team. And honestly, they looked like the better team over the Chargers. So it looked pretty damn good on Sunday night. One late lack of ability to get a stop on defense in that game. They lose 27-24. But, Gavin, they've been blowing out their opponents. The switch has completely been turned on for this team. What are they doing? Well, they're running the ball, first of all. They're taking a lot of pressure off Jalen Hurts. He's making great decisions with his legs, and his arm has progressively looked better. This week it didn't look so great. He missed a few easy throws, but hey, he made up for it a lot with his legs this week. We know it's not sustainable. At the end of the day, you got to be able to drop back and throw the ball. But Gavin, they have a formula. They have an identity. We're seeing improvement from Landon Dickerson every week. We're seeing improvement from Devontae Smith every week. Jordan Howard, granted, he has since been injured and expected to miss this Sunday against the Giants. But there's a lot going in the right direction for the Philadelphia Eagles. And there's a few things that I've said in the past about this team. Number one, you don't see back-to-back bad seasons. You just don't. You don't see it under Jeffrey Lurie. Chip Kelly came in after a bad season. The team went 10-6. Chip Kelly gets fired. Doug Peterson has one bad year at 7-9. They go 13-3 the next year. Last year, the Eagles went 4-11-1. Gavin, they're 5-6 right now. And just for everybody's understanding, the Eagles were 5-7 twice in the last 4 years. When they went on that 3-game win streak with Nick Foles, when they beat the Texans, when they were good, and they beat the Rams, and they beat Washington, they were 6-7 at that point. And then they were 6-7, and then they were 5-7 the next year with Carson Wentz when they went on to win 4 straight games, including that big one over the Dallas Cowboys, 2 against the Giants and 1 against Washington. So it's doable. And now the Eagles, who have had a very tough start to the year, have the overwhelmingly easiest schedule the rest of the way. So 2 questions for you, Gavin. 3 questions. Number 1, how impressed were you with the Eagles on Sunday? Number 2, Do they have what it takes to make the playoffs? And number 3, would you even want to see them in the playoffs? Could they hold their own if they make it to the playoffs?
Well, Zach, first of all, I'll start with the first question. One, I was really impressed. For those who don't understand, let me just and you can elaborate on this as well. The feeling in that stadium amongst every Eagles fan, the tone was set before the game even started. Whether it was Zach, what time did you get inside the stadium? I was there around
11:30ish, 11.
I was around 11:30ish, 11:40ish. The music going into the stadium set the tone of we knew what was going to go down today. The Eagles were not losing. Zach, I know this is crazy to sound, but from the music to the fans to the play on the field, it felt like everybody in the stadium, the link was jumping, sir. The link was jumping. I lost my voice in the first 10 minutes of the game. I lost my voice in the first 10 minutes. And you know what? It didn't kick off, and I was screaming when the players came out. Everybody and their moms knew that the Eagles came to play that Sunday. You got a team that just discovered a run game, and this is going to sound crazy to say that. This team discovered the run game, 4 or 5 weeks ago? And the fact that you ran the ball 50 times versus the number 1 rushing defense, Zach, they had almost 100 plus rushing yards in the first half alone. They ended the game with 240 rushing yards. Jalen Hurts has 3 touchdowns on the ground and a nasty touchdown, little juke move to end it. Zach, I was on that side of the field. I got a good angle of it. But if the team could stay like that, the next question you ask is, could this team be a playoff team? Here's my question, Zach. That little slip up at the end of halftime, or coming out of halftime, where the Eagles looked stagnant and they got a little cute with it, and then all of a sudden it didn't look too like they didn't look like killers coming out to the field. You can't be inconsistent. The defense to me held its own versus a bad quarterback, versus a banged up Saints team that didn't have Alvin Kamara, that didn't have Michael Thomas. But let's be honest, they did hold their own. Zach, they're getting takeaways. Darius Slay alone is getting takeaways. They had 2 interceptions yesterday on Sunday. One is slipping my mind, and the other one was Darius Slay's pick 6 was honestly, Zach. I mean, rest in peace.
Very exciting to watch.
Rest in peace of my voice, Zach. That's all I had to say. Rest in peace of my voice. Now, if you can continue to get takeaways, that's fine. But the defensive play calling has to be better. It has to be better. I don't have too much. I do have concerns with it. I didn't really have too much of a problem with it at halftime, or excuse me, on Sunday. They did let up the foot the gas, but ultimately ended up winning the game. The game shouldn't have been that close, Zach. I mean, you were there. It wasn't close. It didn't have the feeling of being close. A couple of lucky throws by Trevor Siemian and an unfortunate
2 times. I'd say 2 times. The third and 18 or 4th and 18
where he chucked it and magically
the tight end caught it, and then the second one on the other side of the field was the touchdown run on 3rd and 18.
So it's unfortunate stuff. It's really unfortunate stuff. That needs to be cleaned up. I'm still not a big fan of Jonathan Gannon, but I will say this: Nick Sirianni, I'm impressed. Zach, I'm impressed. Now, to answer your last question, would you want to see this team in the playoffs? I think so. I think with their identity, with the formula that they have, Miles Sanders, ladies and gentlemen, won't have nasty formulas like he did on Sunday. I'll call it rust. Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders are the 1-2. Zach, Jordan Howard is the tone setter, the bullier, the crusher, and Miles Sanders should be the change of pace. That's how it should be moving forward. I like Boston Scott. I'd rather see Kenny Gainwell in there a little bit more because I think Kenny Gainwell gives you more options in the pass game. Now, I think this team could go head pound for pound with any team as long as they're running the football. Especially you take it against a team that's great against the run, and you put
one of the best run defenses in the league was the New Orleans Saints, and they were healthy defensively.
And they were healthy defensively, yes.
Marcus Davenport was there. A couple other guys were there.
Lattimore, everybody was there.
Lattimore.
I see if you can run the table and get in. I don't see them going all the way. But if you can sneak in, and even if you don't win, if you sneak in and show everybody what you're made of, I'll be okay with that. And even if they don't, Zach, this last half of the season, me and you shouldn't be as mad. It should be more fun to watch. I mean, the Giants just fired Jason Garrett today. I mean, come on now.
Giants, Jets, bye. Washington twice in there, New York again, Dallas. Of all the teams I just named, there's only one team on there that is better than the Philadelphia Eagles.
And that's
The
questionable.
Cowboys. That's the Cowboys. Final week of the season at home. There is a very good chance that game is flexed to Sunday Night Football, and that could either be for the division or for the Eagles to get a wild card spot. The Philadelphia Eagles need to take care of business, though, in the next 8 games, before they face the Dallas Cowboys. They need to go out there against the New York Giants, who are in turmoil, as Gavin had just mentioned. They fired their offensive coordinator this morning. They need to blast them away in the first half and keep them down. Kick the Jets while they're down. Enjoy the bye and get healthy. Brandon Brooks should be back by then. Knock the teeth out of Washington. Do it again in New York. Do it again to Washington, and then you play Dallas.
You should win.
10-6. You're 10-6 going into that Cowboys game. You could be 11-6. Gavin, would you be happy with 11-6 this year? I mean, I'd be happy with 8-9. I mean, I'd be happy with anything
with
close
10-7. Honestly, that would be way above your and my expectations. I did have
New
one game.
Orleans, they beat Atlanta. They beat Carolina, which was a shocker. They beat every team in the NFC South except for the Bucs, and that was a game that they
And
were
that was a
calling
close game too.
And that's the thing. So let's take a look at the Eagles. How many games this year are we ashamed of as fans? Dallas game, they lost by 20. The Raiders game. Outside of that, look, the Chiefs loss was tough, but it was close the whole way.
49ers.
The Niners tough. Niners game was tough, but again, you lost by 6, and they were driving late. Unfortunately, it got stalled out. Buccaneers game, you lost by 6. They have, if I'm looking at it right now, an 11-point loss, 12-point loss, 20-point loss. They got 3 double-digit losses. The other 3 losses were 6, 6, and 3. Good, Gavin, I said this before, good teams that are talented lose to better teams by 1 possession. The Eagles are starting to show some signs. So let me ask you this before we get to our next segment, called Around the NFL, favorite segment of the week. 3 first-round picks we're looking at right now for next year, scattered across the board. Miami's on a win streak. Philly's on a win streak. The Colts are on a win streak. But Carson wants to get snaps, which is what matters. This team could potentially make the playoffs this year and have 3 first-round picks and the second most cap space in the league. That's not by mistake. Moves had to be made to get to both of those places. And Gavin, we both damn well know the person that heads up that decision-making. And on top of all of that, the Eagles have signed 80% of their draft picks from 2018 to second deals. Avonte Maddox, Dallas Goedert, Jordan Mailata, and I'm blanking on the last one. But 4 guys from 2018. They drafted 5 guys that year. Matt Pryor, who's now in Indy, will probably get another contract there. That's 5 guys that are panning out as successful NFL players, Gavin. We know that the last 2 years at the wide receiver position have been completely botched with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin and Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. We know that those were horrible mistakes. But is Harry Roseman at the very least not appearing to try to do his best to make this football team better?
Yeah, appearing to try. Because you know what he did, Zach? He used his brain for once, magically. And you know what he did? He's like, I'm going to take an Alabama quarterback. I'm going to take an Alabama wide receiver. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to take an Alabama offensive lineman. I'm going to go grab someone from Clemson. He's taking guys from teams that have 5 stars. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, I don't get it. Excuse my voice, ladies and gentlemen. It still hasn't recovered yet. I don't get it. No, Zach, here's why I don't give him credit. I'll be honest. I'll give him partial credit just because of how quick the potential turnaround can be, Zach. I mean, let's be honest. But did you see how bad Jalen Reagor looked on Sunday? I mean, damn. I mean, he can't even do punt and kick returns right. He's fielding stuff that he shouldn't be fielding. I'm sitting there yelling, "We want Justin Jefferson." It's like, remember at halftime they had the dogs that were running out and doing amazing catches. I honestly, I'll take the dog over Jalen Reagor. I really will. And I had the whole section laughing, but I was so serious. They said, "Oh, kid, you're funny," and I look at him and I said, "Yo, what the hell y'all think is funny?" I'm so serious because look, JJ Arcega-Whiteside in his last three seasons he's been in the league, right, Zach? He has a total. He's played 16 games in 2019, 8 in 2020, and 10 in 2021. He has 15 receptions out all 3 years. Hold on. Wait a minute. Now let's go back. How do I get back? Let's go back to Jalen Reagor. All right, Jalen Rager is a guy where I haven't. I've been on the record and I haven't been fond of the guy. I don't want to wish him bad. I mean, it's like I want him to pan out, but he hasn't done anything. I honestly think it's like he's hurting the team. He really is hurting the team, and you're not going to get anything for him. I mean, damn, imagine this, Zach. Devontae Smith on one side and Justin Jefferson on the other side. Who are you going to cover? I mean, come on. Jalen Rager, I couldn't trade Jalen Rager away for a bag of chips. That's how bad he is. If you would have added Jalen Rager and JJ Arcega-Whiteside and try to trade them away for just one single chip, Zach, that trade would get declined. You will be hungry. It's a shame. These guys are no help whatsoever. I mean, come on, man. But to answer your question, Howard Roseman deserves partial credit because how quick the turnaround could be. I hope he doesn't draft a I hope he doesn't draft a quarterback this year. I want him to go defense. I want to see him go defense. I want to see him maybe keep getting that line better, and we could talk about maybe adding another wide receiver. Maybe
Allen Robinson. I've been saying it. I want Allen Robinson in the offseason. I've been saying it the whole time. I said it before the season, did I not?
No, you've been.
I think he'd be a great addition to this team.
You've been consistent. I mean, Zach, sorry to cut you off, but one reception for -1 yard.
-3 yards.
-1 yard. Jalen Rager, everybody.
3 targets. Yeah, not
3 targets.
And he got, sorry to interrupt you, but he got 55 snaps out of 78.
I mean, damn. I mean, you're supposed to be really quick. And Devontae Smith was on Marshawn Lattimore, who, by the way, I do not like Marshawn Lattimore today either. But, Zach, this guy has nothing. No. Everybody's talking about, Rager made this one-handed catch, but he can't catch anything in the game. It's like if you can't catch with 2 hands, I don't want to see anything about one-hand catch. It's the same thing about Ben Simmons. I want to see your damn highlight tape. I want to see you do it in the game.
Yeah, certainly. Look, let's keep breaking it down. Let's talk again. Eagles snap counts on Sunday. Just some key ones. Fletcher Cox, 50 snaps. I don't know if it tells me how many total defensive snaps there were, but 50 snaps is up there. 60 for TJ Edwards. And how about that, Gavin? Let's talk about it for a minute. The linebackers, TJ Edwards, Alex Singleton specifically. They're no names. They really are. But they're fanning out nicely. They fit. They're not causing issues this year like we've seen in the past. Perhaps Jonathan Gannon knows how to make his linebackers look more protected. There are other issues which comes down to blitzing. When the Eagles blitz on third down, they're so much better. And Jonathan Gannon has showed that. There's one thing that I like about this team so far. And I know it's hard. Right now, you're 11 games into a new administration, so to speak. It's very early to judge on either side as far as trusting or distrusting. But there's one thing that I see every single week, Gavin, and that's improvement on both sides of the ball, including the defensive side. Still too early to tell for everybody involved, but right now it's not a dumpster fire as many people have suspiciously thought that it would be. And I think that that's something that we, going into the season, thought of. I went into the season saying they were going to go, I think, 5-11 or 5-12 or 6-11. I was not confident in this team because there's not a lot to know. But they have had a lot of really tough games on their schedule. And now it's easy. And Gavin, you want the evidence that this is the first time in 5 years since the Super Bowl year that when the Eagles play an inferior opponent, or in other terms, when a shark smells blood in the water, they go right after it. This Eagles team in previous years has done nothing but play down to their opponent. Gavin, let's read the scores of all of the games this year that they have won.
I called 40, by the way. I did call 40.
And I would argue every game, I think that every team they've played this year that is definitively worse than them, they've won. Every team they've been better. I think that they beat Carolina, who I think is a better team than them, although their quarterback play has been up and down. I think Carolina is a better team than Philly. The Eagles got away with that one. But I mean, listen, 32-6. That's a blowout. Next one was 32-6. Next one was 21-18. So close game against the team I thought was better than them. And then, Gavin, here's where the fun starts. 44-6. 30-13. 40-29. We know that score.
It should have been 40-14. Let's be honest.
The bottom line is, Gavin, when they play a worse opponent, they destroy them. They have one close game this year where they won. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. But they're blowing teams out when they play the worst teams. And Gavin, we can agree the Giants are worse than them. The Jets are worse than them. Washington's worse than them. And that just leaves the Dallas Cowboys January 9th, as of right now, 1 p.m. 1 week before my birthday. Just a side note. But I don't know. I think that this Eagles team has proven to us that they will beat up on the worst opponents. They've done that all year long. And if they played Vegas again last night, right now, with all the things going on in Vegas, I'm sure they would win that game. Kansas City, I can't say the same for them because Kansas City is also getting better. But
right now, Chargers getting back, I think it's a different story.
Everything's in front of them, Gavin. For the first time, we're saying this, they control their own destiny. They're 5-6. They already have another win than they had last year. Things are getting fixed. They really are. And the players are finally buying into this belief system. Lane Johnson's back, and I'm glad to see he's doing well. Landon Dickerson's developing beautifully. Jason Kelsey continues to be on another level. Jordan Mailata, who he got in a little bit of an alteration.
Like I had a perfect view of that. I just want to say.
So right on our side, I think that deserves some credit. That was a pretty good thing to watch. But nonetheless, this team, they're moving in the right direction. I'm happy to see it. If I had to criticize the team, Jalen Hurts still has not shown enough with his arm yet. I'm not seeing the development with Jalen Reagor or Quez Watkins yet. Devontae Smith, I'm over the moon for. Same with Dallas Goedert. Defensively, you got to blitz more because the 4 guys going in are just not good enough anymore. You need to get another pass rusher that is legit. Maybe trade all 3 picks for the first overall and take that kid out of Oregon. Just kidding. We need to space it out a little bit. Steven Nelson's getting up there in age, so you got to be careful there.
Steven Nelson's garbage.
Not too much impressive from the safeties either. We need to see Kayvon Wallace develop better and get meaningful snaps right now. You're seeing Anthony Harris and Rodney McLeod getting those snaps. So, yeah, there's a lot of holes to poke in this team. And I can talk about how power hungry the front office is, but winning fixes everything, right? And they're looking like they're moving in the right direction.
I'll end it with this. Last year, guys like Davion Taylor, guys like Edwards, and a couple others were not seen in the field. Even though Davion Taylor went down in injury, I've seen a lot of him this year. Edwards, a lot. They're using their young guys this year, something that must have been emphasized. I'm not a big fan of Jonathan Gannon, but damn it, the young guys look great. They look great.
You got to give them time, too. This is supposed to be a rebuild year, and you're 5-6. And one more thing, too, that I have to say about this as a whole. All 11 starters, estimated starters, this coming Sunday are all homegrown, all drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. O-line, all Eagles, Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, the 3 wideouts, and Dallas Goedert. Can we call him Howie yet, or is it still too soon?
Did you see how bad Jalen Reagor looked? Did you see
losing season?
Hold on, time out.
Since the Super Bowl, 1 losing season, potentially. They can make the playoffs 4 out of the 5 years. They're doing something right in that front office.
Zach, if they go to the playoffs this year, I'll give him his nickname back. But on the weekend, on how horrendous Jalen Reagor looked, Justin Jefferson had another,
Justin Jefferson this weekend had 1 more yard total in the game than Reagor has had all season. Exactly. I'm not denying it was a bad pick.
Exactly. And JJ,
we believe in redemption. We speak about it a lot in second chances.
I'm not giving it to him. I'm not giving it to him yet. I'm not giving it to him.
Very critical of him, and this team is making a turn. They got to beat the bad teams. The hard part's over. The hard part's over. Now it's easy until week 18 when they play Dallas.
I don't think Dallas
got to beat the bad opponents. You can't lose to the. If you lose to either New York team, I call it quits. I'll be very angry if they lose to the Giants next Sunday. The Giants are a mess.
I hate Joe Judge, so if they go down, I'm losing all faith in Nick Sirianni again.
Yeah, tough one there. Nonetheless, coming up after this, around the NFL, Gavin and I, 1 sentence or less, break down every single game. We're also going to do another thing today. We've done power rankings previously last season. We're going to bring them back today because the Eagles are making a big rise on that list. And you'll be shocked to see who else they're ahead of. Stay tuned.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
Hey, we got the video right this time. We got the phone ringing too. All right, let's talk about it. It is Around the NFL, where Gavin and I go through every single game, and we talk about it in one sentence or less. Starting off with Thursday Night Football. Last week, we had ourselves the Patriots and Falcons 25-0 shutout. The Patriots, don't look now, Gavin, the Patriots 7-4 lead the AFC East. Great game, great coach.
Matt Ryan sucks. I mean, Zach, do you want me to sugarcoat it? You want me to be nice about it? I mean, damn. Like, it wasn't even like a dramatic drop. It was like, Zach, after the Super Bowl, they just went like this. It wasn't a dramatic drop. I guess, good job, Mac Jones. I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, Matt Ryan is
all right. Coaching. I mean, the coaching is winning these games right now. The Patriots are starting to come to their own.
Mac Jones is he's doing good, but Matt Ryan, boy, should retire.
Ravens, Bears couldn't beat a backup. Rumors came out today Matt Nagy is expected to be fired after Thursday. Matt Nagy shut it down in his press conference today. I've been calling for Matt Nagy's termination for 3 years, Gavin. Don't ruin Justin Fields' career.
Well, Zach, first of all, you've been calling for your good buddy, the Jets' former coach, whatever his name is, Adam Gase, crazy eyes, Adam Gase. I think it's time we get on the fire Matt Nagy bandwagon. Listen, Justin Fields got killed on Sunday. Andy Dalton couldn't beat the backup. Injured Baltimore Ravens team. And by the way, Zach, if you're chanting fire somebody in the Bulls game has nothing to do with what's going on in the situation right now, you need to go. Zach, I'm with the people of Chicago. Get him out of there.
We'll see. The basketball team's starting to make a turn a corner. They're starting to be good again. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But something's interesting going on in Chicago. Vikings, Packers. Gavin, I had 3 games on Sunday that the team that I picked to win was not favored, and I was 3 for 3. I picked the Texans, I picked the Vikings, and I picked the Colts. Let's talk about it. Aaron Rodgers put on a clinic on Sunday, but it wasn't enough. The Vikings are making a push.
You know, Zach, it's funny. I called Kirk Cousins useless, and what does he do the next week? He just lights it up through the air. He had that one pass to Adam Thielen that was ridiculous, where I think the corner slides out the way, and it's a bullet pass behind. I don't know how he did it, but guess what, Zach? When I say Justin, you say Jefferson. Justin! Okay. Anyway, Zach, that was a great game. I had to watch the highlights of it because I watched it on the scoreboard at this stadium. It's actually really good.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game overall. Justin Jefferson lit it up as well. Colts, Bills, MVP. No, not Carson Wentz. Jonathan Taylor. Is it time to give a non-quarterback that award? There's no front runner in my opinion this year.
Zach, this goes back to our argument about paying running backs and stuff and this and that. And
yeah, but I
don't want to get into that argument with you today. My voice can't handle it today. So I would say this. Jonathan Taylor is a man on a mission the past 6 games. The whole month of October and a little bit of late of September, Zach, has been all his. Derrick Henry is not the best running back in the game no more. Nick Chubb, not even close. This man, Jonathan Taylor, is a man on a mission. It looks like Wisconsin out there now. What he was doing back in Wisconsin is like he's doing it right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that I thought he was the best running back coming out of that draft. DeAndre Swift went ahead of him to the Detroit Lions. But the Colts, don't look now, but they're above 500. They're back in playoff contention. Carson Wentz is getting those snaps, Gavin. Everything's going right for the Eagles for the most part. Browns, Lions, congrats. 13-10 with pretty much all their starters healthy for the Browns. Lions were on their backup quarterback who had never played before. So Browns are in trouble.
The Browns are in trouble, and it wasn't Odell Beckham Jr.'s fault. But Zach, on a whole total different note, why did the man they used on Sunday? I forget what the Lions quarterback was. His name was. Why did he look better than Jared Goff? Dan Campbell, I'm rooting for you, buddy. Look, Zach, Thanksgiving. It'll be so perfect, Zach. If the Lions beat the Bears, and this is not for Justin Fields' sake, I'm all for Justin Fields, but the Lions beat the Bears, right? Could you imagine Matt Nagy getting fired on Thanksgiving?
If they lose on Thursday, then I think they would.
Bears fans should be thankful. They should be
probably fire him during the game before his press conference.
The Bears fans should be thankful.
His press conference would become an exit interview at that point. I'd say that.
I hope so. And you can't even Zach, imagine getting fired on Thanksgiving.
I speculate with you too. All right, Washington, Carolina. Cam is back, but not enough. Tough loss for them. Ron Rivera gets his revenge in Bank of America Stadium.
Zach, all looked right with the world. Didn't matter who won or lost that game. It just felt good to watch Cam Newton back at home. The offense looks better, and Cam Newton looks better. It's magic. It's magical how you go from one team, you didn't look that great, and then you go back home and look fantastic. Zach, they're going to
getting back into the swing of things. Last week he was just getting there. When he played on Sunday, did not get a lot of snaps in that game. Scored 2 TDs, but he's still trying to get back into the swing of things. But yes, he looked good overall. Texans, Titans. A.J. Brown gets hurt. No Derrick Henry, no Julio Jones. Ryan Tannehill, 4 interceptions. That's the perfect recipe for a loss.
Ryan Tannehill looked yucky. See what happens when you don't have a run game, Zach? You see what happens when you're – see, they were supposed to be the strongest team in the NFL, and all 3 of those guys that they talk about can't stay on the field. Zach, congratulations, Texans. That's the biggest win you'll get all year.
Yes, indeed. Again, Texans beating the Titans, snapping their losing streak. 49ers, Jaguars, 30-10. 49ers showing they're the better team. Jimmy Garoppolo looked pretty good on Sunday. Gavin, are the Niners still in the conversation for playoffs?
You can't ignore them, but I think the NFC West race is so far ahead of them, and they're just not – I don't see them as a superior top dog team. You lost to a team in the 49ers that didn't have Kyler Murray or DeAndre Hopkins. You got destroyed by James Conner. I'm not believing in you guys.
Yeah, we'll see how they do. Quite the inconsistency.
But they need to fire Urban Meyer. I just need to put that out there. Urban Meyer got to go.
Yeah, another loss for the Jags. Trevor Lawrence not looking good either. Dolphins, Jets, 24-17. Dolphins starting to somewhat rise. Miami Dolphins still not doing too well this year as a whole, but they're starting to win some games and call back into something.
That game just freaked of a tie. I mean, good for Brian Flores to get the win, but I actually thought the Jets was going to pull it off. I was kind of hoping the Jets would win just for the Eagles' sake, but that's it.
And next game, of course, Eagles-Saints we spoke about. Bengals-Raiders. Gavin, we talked about it, how the Raiders can keep winning with so much drama going on. It's finally cracking down on them. I think it's time to free Derek Carr. He deserves to go somewhere else where he can get a chance and kind of get out of all the crap going on in Mark Davis's empire. Bengals have a good bounce back week, 32-13. They secure a win. They're now 6-4.
I would like to see them get to use Jamar Chase in other ways, so just a deep throughout wide receiver. But it wasn't really about Jamar Chase or Joe Burrow. Actually, Joe Burrow had one of the lowest passing games. How about Joe Mixon? 30 for 123 and 2 touchdowns. Crazy.
Yes, Joe Mixon, a guy who trying to bounce back as well this year. Looking pretty decent all year long. Chiefs-Cowboys, 19-9. Gavin, the Cowboys held to the lowest points and yards in this season, and it was done in Arrowhead against the Chiefs' historically bad defense.
You go to Kansas City to kick 3 field goals, Zach, versus the Chiefs defense that's starting to get it together, but they're not anything special. I'll say this, Zach, and I want your opinion on it. The Dallas Cowboys have one job. I said this a couple weeks ago to you. I said, if the Dallas Cowboys beat the Kansas City Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs season is over. Because that proves that Dallas Cowboys are big time as well, and we can see them as legit title contenders. Zach, Dak Prescott couldn't show up. The run game was non-existent from either running back. The Dallas Cowboys are just an accident waiting to happen. I'm not trying to mimic somebody that's actually on TV, but there was a big time game and you couldn't show up.
Yeah, it's been a theme for these Cowboys the last few years as well, especially with Dak Prescott and that team as a whole in some of those games that they've played, especially in the playoffs. So, look, 9 points, it's pretty bad. But the Chiefs, they were in last place a few weeks ago. Everyone was worried about them. They're now in first place. They're back to where they should be naturally.
But the problems didn't magically go away. It's just all about energy. Zach, one team wanted it more on Sunday. The Chiefs wanted it more and the Dallas Cowboys didn't. But I still look at Pat Mahomes.
They needed it more.
They did. I still look at Pat Mahomes and say, you didn't have a touchdown. You had an interception. You're 20 of 37. I still look at Patrick Mahomes and you had a fumble loss. This team is still struggling.
Yeah, they are. And Mahomes has to continue to look better. 19 points is not going to get done in most games. Cardinals, Seahawks, 23-13. Backup Cardinals players beating a kind of healthy Seahawks team. Free Russ. It's over. that era is over in Seattle. Time to clean house. You're not doing anybody any favors.
Free Russell Wilson indeed. And Zach, what happened to that defense? That oh so glorious defense with Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner.
And Carlos Dunlap too.
He was no match.
But yeah, unfortunate. They were bad last year. They tightened up at the end. Seahawks are not in a good position at all. They are in last place in the NFC West. Chargers, Steelers, man, oh man, what an ending to that game. Chargers looked dominant most of the way. Big Ben and the Steelers offense woke up late, but unfortunately, Chargers able to come back, pull off that victory, 41-37 on Sunday Night Football. Los Angeles continuing to make some good moves.
Consistency is going to be the biggest thing for this team down the road. And the Chargers, I mean, Zach, Justin Herbert looked good at the ending, closing moments of the game, but Austin Eckler with 2 touchdowns on the ground and 2 in the air. That's a bad brother right there.
And he's quite slept on. A lot of people don't necessarily view Austin Eckler as one of the better running backs in the league. For those who remember, Melvin Gordon had held out a few years ago. Eckler filled in the role just fine during Gordon's failed holdout, of which he came back anyway and then ended up signing with Denver the next year. And finally, the last game of the week with some big news going along with it. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning 30-10. The Giants shut out in the second half. Daniel Jones, 23 of 38, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Saquon Barkley, only 6 carries, 25 yards, 4.2 yards per carry. And with that, Jason Garrett fired this morning. My comments are, it's time to let the Gettleman Gettle go. Dave Gettleman's time there is done. He has done nothing but draft disastrous pieces that don't work together. Drafted a running back second overall. Was far from worth it. There were tons of other options they could have taken. Imagine they have Lamar Jackson right now on that team, or Josh Allen. They'd be in a lot better position.
Yeah, Justin Herbert.
Could have Herbert this year. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways that they blew it. So unfortunate sight for the Giants. Joe Judge, I'm not buying into his culture. Nobody really is. They had fights in camp this year. They're a poverty team, in my opinion. They are not up to par. Neither them or the Jets are worthy of wearing New York on their uniforms, in my opinion.
The greatest city, in my opinion, is that the greatest city in the United States is represented football by these 2 bums. I mean, we're not even going to get into the Jets, but Zach, look, how did Andrew Thomas have more receiving touchdowns than Kenny Galladay that you signed? Let that sink in. Oh, and by the way, Andrew Thomas is nothing special at the left tackle position, never panned out. Daniel Jones is running for his life. But Zach, I said this a long time ago. Daniel Jones is not a great quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's
not worth 6 overall at all.
He is a second to third round quarterback, in my opinion, and a backup at best.
That's where he'll be in a few years. Their win last year, McCoy was their only impressive win last year. They thought they were playoff worthy. Joe Judge talking about ethics with the Philadelphia Eagles. Please, it's going to be an interesting game on Sunday.
What they need to do is he need to work on his interview and talk about his culture. Because last time I checked, your culture is about fighting each other, can't get the ball, and losers. Right, Zach? I don't know. Bad culture.
Bad culture, indeed. So, looking forward, the next 3 games happen on Thanksgiving Day, 12:30, 4:30, and 8:20. The games this week, Lions, Bears in Detroit, Cowboys, Raiders in Dallas, and New Orleans Saints, Buffalo Bills, Thursday night in the Big Easy in New Orleans. Saints, that's 3 years in a row that they're getting Sunday night. Or Thursday night. That has not really been the best game the last few years either. It's been Saints, Falcons the last 2 years. But this year they mixed it up a little bit.
You think that's better?
The Saints can be competitive, but the Bills are struggling too, Gavin. Remember, the Bills are struggling as well.
I mean, damn, these no. Thursday night never fails to show up, right? Zach? I mean, damn, none of these games are good.
Yeah, good games, I'd say this week. Looking at it, Titans, Patriots is going to be a good one. Buccaneers and Colts. Vikings, 49ers, Browns, Ravens on Sunday night. Seahawks, Gavin. the Monday night game this week is the Seattle Seahawks and the Washington football team. It's been a bad year for the scheduling.
I will say this, like, the only highlight about Monday Night Football is watching Peyton and Eli. That's all I watch.
Yeah, Kevin Hart was on last night too.
Kevin Hart was there, and Eli
Who was there?
was.
Who was there in Philly on Sunday?
Zach, you guys missed out. He wasn't there. That's all I'm gonna say.
It was a good game, fun altogether. So coming up after this, the power rankings. The Philadelphia Eagles. Have they risen? Are they above teams like the Raiders? Are they above teams like the Saints that they just beat? We'll give you it all after this.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
Welcome back, More Than Philly Sports Network. Zach Star, Gavin, Tony, just breaking down around the NFL. Gavin, we haven't done it in a while, but let's get to it. The NFL Power Rankings. Let's start from the back. We'll get these pretty bad teams out of the way. Detroit Lions, 32, 0-9-1. New York Jets, Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans, Miami Dolphins. And then you start to get some teams that you expect not to be here. Chicago Bears, New York Giants, Atlanta Falcons, and Seattle Seahawks. Gavin, thoughts on the there's always next year category?
Well, the only bright spot would be the Bears if they get rid of Matt Nagy, but everywhere else, I don't really see improvements coming. Maybe you could say in Atlanta with Arthur Smith, but Matt Ryan's an aging dinosaur, so everything with the bottom is cool with me.
And finally, and next coming up, the muddled middle, starting from 23 up to 16. The Raiders at 23, Panthers, Broncos, Washington, New Orleans, Philadelphia at 18, Cleveland at 17, and Pittsburgh at 16. Just reading for this website, the Eagles are positioned to make a run. It took a few weeks to work it all out, but it's safe to say that the Eagles have found their identity after starting the season as a primary pass-first squad. Philly has morphed into one of the league's most run-centric teams, with the recent return of Miles Sanders leading the way. The Eagles' ground game beat up on a good Saints defense, and now, of course, a much easier schedule coming up for them. They're the 9th seed right now, just 2 games back from holding that 7th seed and having a chance to play in January.
I mean, it's all about runs. It's all about who can get hot at the right time. Right now, the Eagles have a chance to get hot. But it's like, I want to go back on that list where you said the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Panthers. Those are 3 teams that start the year hot, and, well, you see what happened.
Yeah, they cooled off. They really positioned out. And, yeah, one thing, too, Pittsburgh Steelers are 5-4-1. 16. They just tied the Lions last week and found a way to be very competitive with the good Chargers team. They're a hard team to read. I think between them and Cleveland, it's a toss-up who can get one of those last wild card spots.
I don't believe in Cleveland right now. I really don't believe in Cleveland right now just because you only beat the Lions by 3. Baker Mayfield continues to show that he's trying to be the world's strongest man. Dude, you're hurt. Just sit the hell down. Just do it. I mean, it's like there's no point. What are you trying to prove? What are you trying to prove? The defense is not there this year, and you sure don't got it. So I don't get it. But it's like I don't know who's gonna get the last spot in the wild card in the AFC wild card right now. I don't know.
It's quite a toss-up. There's a lot of unknowns. Bengals are in that conversation too. All right, let's get to it. The playoff contenders, the 9-15 Minnesota Vikings at 15, Bengals, 49ers at a flat 500, Buffalo Bills are 6-4, a team that we thought was the best at one point. Chargers, Ravens at 10 at 7-3. And Gavin, how about this one? Indianapolis Colts 6-5, ranked 1 spot ahead of the Baltimore Ravens after beating up on the Bills 41-15.
Well, the Ravens didn't really have a good last 2 weeks, a little bit shaky last 2 weeks, if I can remember correctly. But the Colts are on fire right now, especially in the run games. Like, that doesn't surprise me at all.
62 in their last 8.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yes, Indianapolis Colts back in the top 10. All right, Gavin, top 8 that are left. The Rams at 8. The Titans, Gavin, still at 7. I'm unsure of that after that loss this week. Cowboys at 6. Patriots at 5. Chiefs 4. Packers 3. Tampa Bay back up there at 2. And Arizona still in that number 1 spot.
Well, Arizona at 1 deserves to be there. It's like they don't have Kyler Murray. They're still winning games. Why is New England top 5? I don't understand. I mean, be someone notable other than the Chargers, please. And finally, Zach, I didn't know that the Chiefs are in the top 5 still, top 10 because of how horrible they look. But I guess you win a couple games. They started stringing together. They still don't look too as a normal selves. But hey, winning does fix everything, right, Zach?
It does. So we'll see if they can hold it together. So that's NFL Power Rankings. That's our thoughts on them as well. Let's stick to football, but let's shift over to college for a minute. First things first, breaking news out of Happy Valley. James Franklin agreeing to a 10-year extension with the Penn State Nittany Lions football team, continuing to make him the highest paid public Pennsylvania employee in the state. Gavin,
I'll let you go first because you've been to more games than me. I'll let you go first.
I'm shocked by it, honestly, their commitment to him. I'm not sure what there is to love. If they want to be an above-average team that makes bowl games every year, I'm all for it. But if you want to make a national championship at some point, I would do that too. I don't hate it because they do have the number 1 quarterback and number 1 running back from this recruiting class coming into them. They probably don't want to make a huge culture change bringing in those guys. So I see where they're coming from. I guess 10 years is probably the standard for coaches, but overall, I think they're going to regret this decision. They're not going to make it more than halfway through this contract.
See, this is tough because I come off as a Penn State hater, all right? I mean, I don't want to come off as a Penn State hater, but let's be honest. What has James Franklin done since he started? I mean, you get into the top 5 a couple times, and as soon as you get into the top 5, Zach, they lose right away.
I mean, 2016, they should have made it to the playoffs. I think that was not their fault. 2017 was wasted talent, and then 2018 and 2019 were the same story. Good start to the year. You lose to Ohio State, kind of wheels fall off from there. Then the next year, you're ranked 4. You lose to Minnesota in Minnesota. Wheels fall off.
That shouldn't have happened.
Last year, you're just terrible from the start. And this year, very good team. Injuries come in and cost you, but then you just couldn't bounce back. They just can't bounce back from these. It's been a pattern. They should have been 1 loss in 2017 and 2018. And then 2019, maybe 2 because of how tough Minnesota could have been. It's disappointment. Their inability to bounce back, losing to Michigan State and Ohio State back-to-back weeks, 2 years in a row. Same old story for the Penn State Nittany Lions. They're not even beating up on bad teams anymore. They're barely winning those games as well. They lost this year to Illinois in 9 overtimes. You barely hold on against Indiana. You're just nothing impressive here. Ryan Day and Ohio State, they blow out teams. They have 1 loss this year to Oregon. They've been doing nothing but killing it since. 6 touchdown passes in the first half the other day. Penn State is nowhere near that level when it comes to Big Ten talent.
Penn State just made the biggest mistake they could ever do. Which and this is, and I think, Zach, and we know the history of Penn State and the whole scandal and everything, so I'm not even going to touch on that. But when I'm talking about strictly football, this is probably the biggest mistake that the Penn State Nittany Lions could do, which is sign this man for 10 years. And I like James Franklin. I think he's a nice coach, but when you talk about winning, I don't see it. Penn State is a shaky football team. They never have the talent as good as Ohio State. In fact, the sad thing is Penn State's name just rings as much bells as Ohio State's name should. They
should have no issue recruiting.
Say again?
Recruiting is not an issue for Penn State. Development is not an issue. Resources is not an issue. I'm just confused as all hell why they can't get to that next level. Michigan State's not as popular as them.
Michigan is just finally being relevant again, but I honestly, Zach, this is a big mistake and they'll regret it next year.
Yeah, we'll see how next year goes for them. A lot of moving pieces for them. And finally, this Saturday, 12 o'clock, Gavin, Michigan Wolverines under Jim Harbaugh have yet to beat Ohio State. Is this the year? The winner of this game will win the Big Ten East most likely and will most likely go on to the playoffs. Saturday, November 27th, the 4-seeded Ohio State, 4-ranked, and the 6th-ranked Michigan. Both teams 10-1. Michigan's only lost to Michigan State. Ohio State's only lost this year to Oregon. So respected programs that they've lost to this year. Is this the biggest game of Jim Harbaugh's career?
Yes, because he's in the top 10, and this will decide if he goes to the playoffs. You want to talk about a guy that hasn't done nothing since he got a job? Jim Harbaugh is a prime example of not doing a damn thing. Zach, talk about being mediocre, average. Jim Harbaugh fits every category. If the state of Michigan loses this weekend, oh boy, Jim Harbaugh is going to get fired the next day. It's just going to happen. Zach,
So this is their best year they've had under him.
I'm going with Ohio State. I kind of find it a little bit awkward that Ohio State doesn't say anything with an M this week, so it's T, and it's B, and they don't say B. It's just nothing. If your name has an M in it, it doesn't matter. Not this week. So I'm going with Ohio State this week. They're not going to let me down.
It's in the big house. Ohio State has not been faced by big events before. CJ Stroud has just been on an absolute tear this year, and they easily have the best wide receiving core in all of college football. So, I mean, Eagles keep an eye on that. But in all seriousness, it's going to be a good game. I'm taking Ohio State. I think Ohio State will win this one pretty not a blowout, but I think they'll win it by at least 2 scores, 10, maybe 11 points. Michigan's a great team, but Ohio State's just on a completely different level. They always have been, and they always will be. So, other than that, there's not many other major games going on there. Tonight, big game. We're going to switch over to basketball, talk about college for a minute. Women's college basketball as well. I know Gavin has some news he has to break, unfortunately, from the other day's game. But UCLA, Gonzaga, tonight. Give me UCLA.
I like UCLA too, Zach. They returned everybody from last year. I know Gonzaga got a new guy, and they got a guy, and they still got Timmy. But the way UCLA plays basketball, it's just so smooth, and they all play together. I just like what they had, especially the magical run. Now they're back. They're back on the map. You gotta give them respect, Zach. I'll put you on this one tonight.
Yeah, they were the 11th ranked, so the 11th seed in the playoffs last year. They made it to the Final Four. Great run for them as a whole. They get their redemption against Gonzaga tonight. Let's see what they can do. Take them down tonight, 2 versus 1. And another 2 versus 1, the UConn Huskies, South Carolina Gamecocks. UConn looked great for the first 3 quarters of that game. Fourth quarter, things changed on their head. Gavin, break it down. What happened?
See, the talent of South Carolina returning everybody and having the number 1 recruiting class, even without having the number 2 recruit in the class. Number 1 recruit goes to UConn, but the number 2 goes down with a season and knee injury. It's like it was UConn out in the start, and it was like the talent switch. Sloppy play from UConn, from Paige Beckers, including, which hurts me the most, defensive breakdowns a lot as well on UConn's side, and just South Carolina just being able to turn those turnovers into points. Leah Boston and Zaya Cook really combined for 39 points to beat Paige Beckers and UConn yesterday. Zach, as you can tell, I'm depressed in my voice because I'm scared what the AP polls are going to do. I don't think they drop UConn at all because that would be pretty stupid to do.
Really should. If the AP poll was right, then UConn should have lost to South Carolina. Therefore, saying it too.
And also too, Zach, I want to point this out. South Carolina has played 5 games. UConn only played 3. They only played 1 coming into the tournament in the Bahamas. South Carolina had about 2 or 3 games coming into the tournament. I think it was 2. So I don't know, but I will say this: that rematch in late January will be something to keep an eye on and maybe have to go to. I'm just like, there's no way. Mark my words, ladies. There is no way Gino Auriemma loses 2 times to Dawn Staley, the hometown girl.
Absolutely. We're going to find out between now and then. A lot's going to happen. A lot to be determined. Let's break it down now. NBA, real quick. LeBron James, Detroit Pistons altercation. LeBron James suspended for a game after hitting his opponent. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. Detroit Pistons player. The Pitt player was
Isaiah Stewart.
Isaiah Stewart suspended 2 games. LeBron James suspended 1 game. Good. I'm glad they were suspended. Get on top of that unacceptable behavior. No defense to the Lakers on that one or LeBron James. Lakers are in trouble. I didn't think Russell Westbrook was a good fit for the start. They're in trouble. They need to make some moves this pretty quickly because they're not putting it together. Too old.
Zach's pom-poms are I guess in distress. He can't put his little cheerleader outfit on and talk about the Lakers. Looks like the reason why, and I've seen it all. I'm happy that they suspended LeBron James at least a game because of it looked intentional. No matter how many times it looked intentional. It's like there was an angle where I think it was a side angle where LeBron James actually his Isaiah Stewart is right here and LeBron is looking this way, and he still goes like that. It's enforced. I see why he only got a one game because like there was no vicious. I don't think the intent was for him to bleed and to start all out brawl, but the intent there wasn't a vicious intent to hit Isaiah in the face. 2 games for Isaiah Stewart, that's fine. You can't run over people like that. That's a safety hazard. That's a safety hazard. Everybody. And Zach, I do want to point something out. That man Isaiah Stewart would make a nice power back in the NFL. I'm just saying. But it's like I think that's fair. Fair punishment for both sides. I like the league this year and how they are handling the stars. They suspended Nikola Jokic for a game. They suspended LeBron James for a game. That's how it should be. No one gets special treatment when they do heinous acts. When they do a vicious acts that can harm somebody. So I'm all for it.
Without a doubt, I don't think anybody would disagree with you on that one. Right now, as the standings look in the entire NBA, the Western Conference, starting out with the Warriors 15-2, Suns 14-3, Jazz in third, Clippers moving up to fourth, Mavericks, Grizzlies, Trailblazers at 9-8, Nuggets at 9-8, and then the 2 teams on the bubble, Lakers 9-9, Timberwolves 8-9, and then the basement of the league, Thunder at 6-11, the Kings at 6-12. Gavin just firing Luke Walton yesterday. Sixers beating them last.
Why did he even get another job? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Spurs 4-12, Pelicans 3-16, Rockets 1-16. And on that note, Gavin, on the Kings note, why doesn't Buddy Hield start games? He's their best player. He's better than De'Aaron Fox.
I don't know about that.
I'm waiting to figure out why Buddy Hield doesn't start games for that team. Nets, first place, Bulls second, Heat third, Wizards fourth, Hornets fifth, Celtics climbing up 10-8 in sixth, Bucks in the seventh, Sixers also tied with those 2 teams at 10-8 in the 8th spot, Knicks, Cavaliers, Hawks, Raptors, Pacers, Pistons, and then the Magic sitting down in the bottom. Still too early in the season to tell, but Gavin, let's talk about the Sixers because this is going to be a really sore spot for the team this year. A lot of players have been in and out of the lineup, but they've shown a lot of resilience on this run. Since Embiid has been out, they lost to the Knicks and the Bucks in close games. They lost to the Raptors in a close game. The Pacers a close game. Blown out by the Jazz. Beat the Nuggets. Lost to the Trailblazers close. Beat the Kings. And now tomorrow night, they play the MVP Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. And then they come home against the Timberwolves, where Joel Embiid is expected to make his return. And then you play the Magic, Celtics, Hawks, Hornets again. Jazz, Warriors, Grizzlies, Heat, Nets. So there are some wins in there that are gettable. They have an uphill climb at this point. But how about Tyrese Maxey? There's one thing I've seen in this run is that Tyrese Maxey has what it takes to be an NBA point guard.
Tyrese Maxey had the best summer league by far, in my opinion. Best upside, especially at the playoff run where he grew into his own. That's what I think what made him the guy we see now. Who the hell cares what Ben Simmons feels? I sure as don't. As long as he's playing like that, and ladies and gentlemen, the Western Conference, I mean, Joel Embiid's going to come back versus the Raptors. Whatever you say, the Raptors, it could be easy or hard. Scotty Barnes, I mean, that's my rookie year at the moment. But, Zach, this is a perfect time to get Joel Embiid back in the swing of things. You go against a lighter schedule, especially in the bottom of the East. You can get some wins here and there. Joel Embiid doesn't have to play as hard, but he can work his way back. I wasn't worried. I knew the Western Conference trip was going to be terrible. I just wanted to be competitive, and for the most part, they were, except for all but one game. It's going to be a rough year. As long as everybody can stay healthy and the COVID bug, which once again struck the Sixers early in the year, decreases and leaves the team alone, they will be just fine.
I agree. Just fine is pretty subjective. I think just fine is good enough to make the second round as a top 6 seed, but again, they have to make some moves if they want to be a serious contender. I don't know what those moves are right now. They got a lot of good role players. They got a lot of good pieces. Seth Curry's got to stay consistent. Tyrese Maxey has to as well when Embiid and Harris are back and they're fully healthy. They have their work cut out for them to help out the team. So with that being said, I mean, nothing too big in the baseball world right now. Been pretty quiet. Wander Franco today signing a big deal with Tampa Bay.
I never knew Tampa to do that. They never done that. They never
spent big money like that. I did watch Moneyball over the weekend, so my mind is kind of in that direction. I recommend that movie to anyone who hasn't watched it yet or has an interest in sports stat. It's a phenomenal movie as a whole. Union, big win over the Red Bulls. Extra time, big kick from like 20-some yards away. Curved right in. Very impressed with that. I'm not even a big soccer watcher, but I had it on. Very impressed with the Union. Keep it going. Other than that, Gavin, that's about all I have for today. You kind of have to play at some point this week. I'm sure they'll have to have a good bounce-back game after that loss against South Carolina. Other than that, that about does it for me.
You can see the pain in my face from watching it yesterday, right? I just want to let you know.
You can feel my pain when the Phillies suck, too.
Well, first of all, it's like, well, we all feel that same pain. I was walking outside of Citizens Bank Park, right? This is a fun story for everybody before we go.
Oh, and the big news, of course, too, before you get to that, Bryce Harper winning National League MVP, but we'll get to that.
Nah, that's back page news. No disrespect to him. I love the guy, but listen, Zay, let me tell you how funny this was. People were walking across the street going towards Citizens Bank Park, the parking lots at the ballpark. And this one guy is standing there taking a picture of the little sign they have out there that says MVP Bryce Harper, the picture. And then one guy goes like, "Yo, man, walk." He's like, "Nah, I want to see that." He's like, "Congrats." He's like, "Trust me, that's gonna be up there all next year because they're not gonna do anything this offseason." I look back at Atlanta and just said, "Ha, he's not wrong." Because you know why? It's like, no, they're not wrong. Noah Syndergaard goes to the Angels. Lupo goes to the Angels. You were one of those guys that got a picture of it too, Zach?
I was moving. I was taking it as I was going. I was taking it as I was going.
It was nice, but I would say this. I mean, it wasn't nothing too crazy because make moves. I heard you're in the market for starting in March. That's cool. We need some pitchers. Don't be watchers. Don't watch as the world goes around you. But it's like I kind of thought that was funny because the guy kind of looked like he was going to cry, or the kid looked like he was going to cry when the guy said that to him about this is going to be disappointing. I totally agree with him. I had to have a laugh on that one. And in the words of this drunk Philly fan that I was walking by, this team sucks. I don't know why. That was great. That was great.
Yeah, I'll go out on a limb again and say the Phillies will make the playoffs this coming year.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. You said that last year.
We're less than 2 months away from pitchers and catchers report, or 3 months away from pitchers and catchers reporting. It's going to come sooner than we think. But with that being said, November 23rd.
What's that time? Because that means we'll be back.
That's all we got for today. For those of us who keep track of the golf world, Colin Morikawa winning the race to Dubai over the weekend. Congratulations to him, the first American to do it where it officially counts. Tiger Woods back to the driving range, looking good out there. If you were anybody who was on Instagram on Saturday and Sunday, you would have seen the video of him with the huge leg sleeve on and then out there hitting. And then Friday, Gavin, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, head-to-head match play, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Is that going to be televised?
Coming up, it will be televised. A lot of things come to match part 5 or 6. I've lost track, but that's about all we got.
I do love them. I do love when like Mobile One and Capital One do like this little celebrity golf race. I like that. They should keep doing those.
I'm all for it, and I'm all for this one coming up. So, Gavin, anything else you have to say today, or have you had enough talking to the stars? I'm sure you've had plenty of conversations with my family today.
Come on, man. It was fun. It was fun. That was good. Jake,
I'm glad to hear.
That was a fun time, Jake. You actually helped me with lighting as well. So let me know if this works with Zach. I got nothing else for the stars today.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching us. We appreciate it, and we'll see you all soon.
Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos. Again, thanks for watching. Have a great